make money from property investment in the UK, how to get into the property investment game in 2021, property investment pitfalls. What are they? How can I avoid them? How can you avoid them? Well, if getting into property investment or indeed scaling your property investment business is on your list of 2021 goals, then this recording is definitely for you. Hey, it's Judy Condliffe. Thank you so very much for joining me again today on the Creative Legal's Property Investment Lawyers platform. Today we kickstart an awesome series which I'm very, very excited about. It's on how to make money from property investment in the United Kingdom. It's how to get into the property investment game. How do you get started? What are the key questions that you ought to ask yourself before you even consider starting property investment in 2021? So this is going to be an amazing recording made up of at least 50 whole points or extras, as we always do. We're going to start with the 5 prerequisites of property investment, the 5 key primary points to ponder. We all know that property investment can be a lucrative investment, but it comes with its own inherent risk. It is common knowledge that most millionaires are millionaires because of property. Many people have also lost a lot of money due to property investments that have turned into liabilities. So before you invest, before you kickstart your property investment journey, have clarity of vision, have clarity of purpose, have clarity of strategy. Hopping from strategy to strategy is not going to serve you. Running around from location to location like a headless chicken is hardly going to serve you. Why are you investing? You need to know why you're investing and the timescale of the requisite investment. Do you want to benefit from income now or in the future? Are you trying to build a property portfolio that will support you through your retired years? Do you plan on selling maybe before you retire? Do you have financial commitments now and you need to release equity immediately? Are you looking for capital appreciation? Why are you investing? Peer pressure is never a good reason to invest. So because your friends are investing, because your family members are considering investment, that in itself ought not to be a good enough reason for you to invest. You need to have your own reasons why, because that will direct your destiny, that will direct the choice of investment vehicle and many other decisions that will rest on that. So be clear on that. You must focus on facts and not on feelings. House buying can trigger all sorts of emotions. It is exciting, it's nerve-wracking, and it's everything else in between. You see a house, it's beautiful, you fall in love with it, and you buy it without checking the figures. By falling in love, you are likely to be falling into a trap. Love is not going to pay the mortgage. Love does not always guarantee a return on investment. You must focus on figures, focus on the financials, not on the feelings. Is this a positive financial investment? Not, I feel like this is the right thing for me to do. Feelings are great, but they have their own place. When it comes to investment, of course, it's good to go with your gut instinct, but you must be guided by facts and not just feelings. Know your location. It's been repeated loads and loads of times. Location, location, location. What works in that location? Not every strategy works everywhere. For example, if you want to do serviced accommodation, perhaps with a specific bias towards corporate lets, getting a property in a remote village somewhere, a place that is virtually dead as a dodo, is hardly going to help you. On the flip side of that, If your strategy is, say, supported living, getting into the hype of the city, like the busiest part of a city centre, nightclubs, pubs, and all of the other dramatic things that can happen in those places, that is highly unlikely to be the smartest idea. So location is important. So you need to decide whether your strategy is going to work in your chosen location, or you need to decide which location your strategy is going to work in, or you need to decide which strategy works in your chosen location. So I think it's a chicken and egg situation here, is it not? Understand your strategy, know what you are doing. Are you a property investor? Are you a property trader? What are the differences? What are the tactical advantages? What are the disadvantages? What are the legalities and the legal implications of your preferred strategy? Do you buy to let? Do you buy and hold? Do you buy, refurbish, remortgage? Do you buy, refurbish, refinance, and rent? Do you buy, refurbish, and resell? What do you do? What do you want to do? There are many options available to you. So knowledge becomes important. As I always say, what you do not know could cost you. Some people hop into investment out of desperation without having invested in education, without having invested in any knowledge at all. You want to be vested in this, so you invest before you invest. You invest in yourself before you invest in property. There are no shortcuts around that. Invest in your property education. Understand the law around what it is you are trying to do. If your investment strategy is buy to let, you're going to want to know the law around letting. You're going to want to know landlord and tenant matters. Luckily for you, you've got me. So I have written a book with you in mind. You can download it. The link is in the comments. It's less than lunch money. So you owe it to yourself to invest in knowledge, to invest in education. Feel free to grab a copy, leave a review, get a free consultation with me, and let's get your property investment journey kick-started for 2021. Let's start 2021 strong. Let's do this. If you are getting into property investment, you're going to need a property, right? That's going to be the first step. There are many ways of acquiring a property in the United Kingdom. There are many different creative strategies that enable you to invest in property without having a significant initial outlay at the outset. So there are strategies that don't require a lot of money to get started, and a lot of money obviously is subjective. I discuss these strategies separately. As a law firm, we are specialist lawyers in relation to creative strategies. That's why we're called creative legals. Feel free to visit our website, creativelegals.com. You'll find a lot more details on how we can actually help you on the legalities of ensuring that your creative strategies are legally viable strategies. Today we focus on two primary ways of getting a property, two primary ways of buying a property. So this could be through an agent, direct to vendor, and the other one could be an auction purchase. I love auctions, I really do. I remember my first auction experience, very interesting. It was actually a telephone bidding. I was at work and I did it during my lunch break, but unfortunately I got really auction happy and ended up paying a lot more than I needed to pay. So that was one. I also work with quite a lot of clients who buy properties at auction, so we prepare the whole legal pack for you for a fixed fee. If you're interested in that, again, just let us know. There's a link in the comments on how you can arrange a consultation with one of the solicitors in the team who are experts in auctions. So the lawyers can help you prepare your auction pack if you're selling at auction, or if you're buying at auction, it's better best to always have somebody else, a lawyer, preferably a lawyer who's actually experienced in auction purchases, a lawyer who's got the relevant expertise in these matters to check the documentation for you, for the reasons that I explain a bit later on, because some people have had their fingers burned by not having the documentation checked prior to the auction. So that must be done, because once the gavel goes down, you go down with it. Okay, not necessarily. Okay, if you've done everything correctly, then you win, don't you? So we want to help you win at auction. If you haven't already done so, feel free to watch the 7-step guide on winning at auction. So the first step, whether you're buying at auction or you're buying through the normal or the conventional route, you must consider whether buying is actually affordable for you. Is it the right decision for you? I'm not delving into any of the financial matters. I'm focusing on the legal side of things. So you've got your mortgage advisors, you've got your financial advisors. They're best placed to advise you in those matters. I'm just giving you legal direction, and this is not legal advice as stated on our platform. If you want legal advice, then you'll need to instruct us formally as your solicitors. So the first point, as I said, is consider whether buying is affordable for you, because all our circumstances are different. So buying right now might be a great decision for you. Buying a little bit later on might be a better decision for you, but you need to consider your circumstances in the round, and that is something that perhaps only you can do with expert advisors, such as your legal advisors, creative legals, of course, your financial advisors, your mortgage advisors, and you may also need tax advisors, because there's quite a lot that goes on in relation to property investment. It's like a puzzle, isn't it, with many pieces that come together. The next step is ensuring that your due diligence is duly done. Conducting legal due diligence really is a pertinent preliminary step to be taken by any serious property investor before getting into the property investment game. A legal due diligence helps assess the potential risks of a given transaction. The purpose of a legal due diligence is to assess the potential risks of a given transaction. You do this by investigating all the obligations and all the liabilities. We don't just look at the rosy side of things, the positive side. We also look at, the negative, the ugly things that we need to know before we get into what could be an incredible opportunity, or what could turn out into a worst nightmare. So you want to get objective and reliable information about your potential purchase. This is what will help you establish whether to proceed with a transaction. And it's not always about pulling out of a transaction. It's also about finding tactical ways to mitigate the risks, finding tactical ways to exclude the risks, finding ways to negotiate, renegotiate. Can you get any warranties? Can you get a reduction in the purchase price? Whatever it is, you want to get into a property investment deal with open eyes. So that's that on your due diligence. Then you need to think about searches. As a buyer, what sort of searches are you expected to do? As a buyer, what sort of searches do you need to do before you buy the property, or as part of the conveyancing process, which is the buying process? So what searches are important for you to do, for you to carry out? So you need to carry out things such as your local authority search. This will show you whether there are any planning decisions that could affect the property that you're buying. It could show you environmental factors such as whether the property is actually on contaminated land or not. It will show you things like proposals for new roads, traffic, rail schemes within the vicinity of the property, and a lot more. I do a detailed recording on that, and the details are just there for you. Click that button if you want to know more specifically about local authority searches. You'll also have other searches such as your drainage and water search, and that's a search of the local authority's records to see whether the property is connected to mains water supply and to drainage. Of course, you would need that, would you not? If you're buying a property, your tenants are going to need to utilize a water supply of some sort. You also have your environmental searches. This is a search to determine the risk of flooding and the proximity of any waste pipes and also contamination in the area. If you're buying a property in an area with a history of coal mining, you may want to carry out a coal mining search. This will give you information about any current coal mining activities, any future coal mining activities, and indeed past coal mining activities. You may be wondering, why would you need to know that? Well, this can actually show you whether the ground is stable or not. So it will reveal issues of ground stability. It will also reveal matters of things like subsidence, which could end up costing you an absolute fortune. So these are some of the things for you to look out for as part of your home buying process. So when the solicitors send you that documentation, I know sometimes it's like a holy Bible, but please take time just to go through it and look at some of the points that I am raising with you. Dependent on the locality of the property that you're buying, you may also need to carry out what is called a commons registration search. This can establish whether the land is registered as common land. Again, I do a detailed recording on that. Feel free to visit that or just go on the website and you'll find more information on that. And if your property is located in maybe the West Midlands, there used to be quite a lot of limestone mining. This was a little while ago in the 1930s. In the 1930s, so there's a real risk, or still a risk, of subsidence. So a limestone search will be recommended in those particular areas. So some of these things really depend on the location of the property, and a good solicitor will be able to highlight most of these matters, or actually they ought to highlight these matters for you. So yep, I hope you found that helpful. Stay tuned for the next video, for the next audio, where we discuss various aspects of your property investment journey. Until next time.